Okay, so you've written the first draft of your story, you've revised it a little bit by listening to Alex read it, by listening to yourself reading it in voice memos. Now what we're going to do, and that is the writing and speaking part. What we're going to do now is we're going to do a reading part. So the idea behind this is now a teacher has given some students a quick article on how to write a good story. What we're going to do is we're going to take a look at that article and personalize it so that it is the most accessible to each of our students. And so let's start with opening up Safari. The link to this story is in the Google Classroom assignment. And we're going to open up Safari, and I'm already to that story. And so what we're going to do is we're going to make it so some of the extra items on this page go away, and then we're going to actually make it so we can mark up this article with some of the tools built into iPad. So let's start up here by clicking on the upper and lower, the large and small A, and notice some of the things that we can do. What I want to show you first, though, is in a lot of articles we see this extra stuff that can kind of take attention away from the text. Sometimes, especially in places like CNN, you'll find videos and advertisements that just take your attention away from the text that you want the students to read. So we're going to start by going into Readerview. When you click on that, that is much better. It takes away all the extra photos and makes the text the star of the show. So now we can take a look at this and not have all of the distractions going on. But if you click on that again, there's some other things that we can do. We can make the text bigger. Kind of zooms in for us. We can also change the font. We can change the background if we have some kind of visual impairment. And those are some of the things that we can do to make it so it's easier for our students to read. Again, this whole thing is about personalizing the experience on the iPad so it erases any hurdles that the students have to go over just to access the content that you want them to get to. But we're not done here, because what we can do is we can actually take a screenshot of this entire article and then mark it up as a PDF. So in my assistive touch, I've actually put screenshot as one of my buttons. But you can also do a screenshot, and your students can do a screenshot by clicking the power button and the home button at the same time. It'll make a camera noise for you, and then drop an icon in the lower left-hand side of the screen. So there's the article. Before that goes away, I'm going to tap on that icon. So right now it's just a screenshot, but what you'll notice is you can actually take this full page and it'll turn it into a PDF for you. So let's get that full page. And now here's the full web page that we had access to. Over here, I'm going to hit done, and it's going to ask me where I want to store it. So I want to save the PDF to files. Files we're going to talk about in a little bit more depth in just a second, but files is kind of a folder filing system that the iPad has built in, where you can actually create and organize folders to however you do your job. So right now a lot of my folders are set up by app. So all the apps that I'm using, I also have it set up where PDFs go, and a couple of other folders. But however your students want to be organized best, or however you want your students to be organized, you can have them create that filing system, that folder system, right inside of files. So I'm going to save it right here in PDFs, and then hit save. Okay. So now I'm still on that website, and so I want to go back in to files, which is right here. It's just this folder. Oops. Right here. And then find on my iPad in PDFs, here's that article. Now right here you'll notice a little pen, and that's for the markup tools. Now that PDF comes up and I have that ability to start to mark this up. So what I'm going to ask you to do is go ahead and do that, and do whatever close reading skills that you've taught or you've learned that you want to do some highlighting, or we can take the pen and do some notes. You can also erase. And you can see that we can change colors of font of the marker or the pen or the highlighter. So go ahead and do some marking up of this PDF. When you're done, you can pause the video here, but when you're done, just hit done in the upper left. Then that'll get saved. And really, for this assignment, all we need you to do is attach your marked up PDF to the Google Classroom assignment, and that is simple enough. So if I go into Google Classroom, here's an old class that I was in. I choose this first assignment. I choose my work, and I need to add an attachment. I want to upload a file, and then if I hit browse to go back, I can choose on my iPad, and I find the PDF. It should be this first one. Nope, that's not it. Sorry. Add attachment, file. And let's organize this by date. There we go. So there's that article I just marked up. And then it'll get attached. Get rid of the old one. And then I can turn that in, and away it goes. Okay. One last thing, and that is when we go into files, we can organize this however we want. So if you're having your students personalize their iPad however they want to save things, now if you just let them go, they're just going to have all their documents listed right here for sure. But creating folders is very easy. So we created a folder inside the PDF. How we view it can be changed. Do we want to see it as icons or a list? How many columns do we want? Do we want it organized by date? So the idea that on my iPad, that's actually on the hard drive, they can create all sorts of folders. The other place we can create is here in iCloud Drive. Your students are going to have their own managed Apple ID that they get from the district, and they get 200 gigs of space. So the idea of organizing and creating a folder system on their iCloud Drive gives them about 7 times the space than they actually have on their iPad. Something to consider for them, something to consider for you to organize where you save your files on the iPad. Okay, again, all we need here is the screenshot of that marked up PDF. Thanks.